Welcome to This Is Our Earth podcast. I am Sylvia Puentes, and I invite you to these amazing conversations that explore the wonder and magic of connecting with our beautiful planet. Inspired by Lugar, the place, originally a book by Gary Douglas, and now being actualized on our Earth as we speak. What can we each be that would create a sustainable living Earth? So welcome everyone to another wonderful episode of This Is Our Earth. And I am delighted to have another special guest. And what a treat. We have Brendon Watt with us, one of an incredible Access Conscious facilitator and one of the few that gets to facilitate a body of work called Choice of Possibilities, among many other amazing classes. And Brendon, truly, truly welcome. I'm so
Thank you.
Glad to have you on the show. And with the topic of This Is Our Earth, I know in the last, I'll say maybe even a year, we've really have seen such a shift and a change on the planet with the Earth. I guess I'd just love to hear, like, what have you been aware of and what have you, I don't know, chosen different or whatever it is that you would like to add and share today?
Well, I think for me, one of the things I started dynamically becoming more aware of was how much awareness I have of other people's realities. And I say that in the place of like people, a lot of people were stressed out and unhappy and, and they had too much time together in their relationships and their finances changed. Everything pretty much just changed. Everything they thought was normal or predictable went away. And I started kind of going on this slide downhill and I was like, what's going on? I'm not happy anymore, and I realized, like, I started talking to Gary about it and I said, I just can't seem to find my happy. And he said, you need to ask the earth. You need to ask the earth to show you what true happiness is. So I was in Mexico at the time and I started going out every day and choosing something different, a different energy that I'd like to have in my life, like happiness, gratitude, allowance, vulnerability, all of these different things. And I'd go out for a walk and I'd ask the earth, okay, will you show me what this energy is? And it was interesting to start getting the true sense for me, what all of those things were, because I used to look at them from like this, through this reality and go, okay, vulnerability means this, happiness means this, all of these things mean this. But when you're truly being something, it has no meaning. And that's the part I was completely missing. I was like, because you know what it's like when you get really happy for like maybe a day, 2 days, and if you're pretty good, you'll go 3 or 4 days. And then because you've got it and you're just like locking that thing in and you're happy now, I've got this happiness thing down. And what we do with that is we go, okay, I'm not going to make any more big choices right now because if I do, this might go away, and that's what I did my whole life. And when I started getting this, like, I basically am happy all the time now. And I haven't been that my whole life. 40 years, I've never had that.
Wow. And I remember you actually sharing something. It was maybe a little while ago where you were talking about what you had bought as your point of view of what joy was or how it felt. And I think you were out on jet skis with Dane maybe, and you guys were doing something out there. But the sense of what we've decided that joy and happiness feels like or looks like, that can limit what becomes available.
Well, big time. Any time you define anything as of and as what it is, you've already created the limitation, And what I found fascinating for myself personally was I've been talking about this stuff for 10 years, facilitating classes and stuff. And it's only been like, there's been the lockdown's been on for 12 months now, basically. It's only been the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks I've been consistently happy every day, and I wake up every day happier, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And it's like, and for me, I know that it's actual happiness because I don't have to find the reason for it. And I know without a question of doubt that the earth taught me it.
Wow. And that was from you asking the question.
Asking the question, and it's also the willingness to receive. And one of the things with this also is what I'd done pretty much my whole life was abuse my body, with like, I would have too much awareness. So I would, and without justifying it, because it's not even about justifying, but I'd drink so that I didn't have to deal with my awareness, or I'd abuse my body in some way. And what I noticed was, it was right around Christmas. I knew I had to do this this cleanse, and it's like 14 days of basically eating rabbit food, no alcohol. It was over New Year's. I was like, seriously, sober on New Year's? This is terrifying. This is the first time ever since I was like 3 that I was sober on New Year's. But what I noticed was the first 3 days was really difficult. And then after that, I became so connected with my body and so connected with the earth based on my willingness to be connected with my body, that unhappiness became harder to choose than happiness. Whereas for the previous 40 years, unhappiness was much easier to choose than happiness. And I was like, wow, see, one of the things we do is we disconnect from our bodies, but our bodies are connected with the earth. They function like the earth. Energetically, they're compatible with the earth. And when we don't receive from it, we have a really hard time expanding into being as big as we are, because we're in our body trying to figure out how we are just this little thing walking around, not connected to anything. And I've seen it with different people. Like my son, he's in Australia. He's 15 years old. He's been depressed for the last few years, and just basically, and very bluntly, a little asshole. And the last couple of weeks, he started like, actually, I think it's been the last couple of months, he started working out at the gym and stuff. And he's like getting out of the house. Instead of gaming, he's going for a bike ride. And instead of being depressed, he's going to the gym, and he's starting to use his body. I talked to him 3 days ago, and I was like, who is this kid? He had this sense of connection with his body again that allows you to receive. And it's not only just from the earth, from the universe. So that's one of the things that I've seen in the last 12 months is a lot of people have been stuck inside, but also chosen to isolate themselves based on a dynamic increase in awareness of everybody's upset and unknowing of the future that lays in front of them now, and all these different things, spending way too much time in their relationships, which can be really hard. Yes. And they've kind of just isolated themselves, and with that you lose connection to everything in the universe that contributes to your life.
Wow. As you were saying that, yes, like, the number of people that, everyone, it's been different for everyone in every country. And yet that sense of being locked down and not actually acknowledging the choices you do have in whatever situation.
Yeah.
I know there's this incredible app by Dr. Dane that we also had on the show, one of your good friends. And so in one of his apps, you've got this, and one of the exercises are like, okay, get down and do some push-ups. And I'm like listening to this going, really? Like, this is crazy, but okay.
Push-ups? I hate push-ups.
And it was Get Out of the Fudge Head, I think is the title of it. But it's like, I went down, and no joke, after 10 push-ups, I was different. Yep. So what you're saying, this part of really acknowledging your body, and I mean, what else, what is that? Would that be an invitation to people actually to do something physical?
Well, it's that, but also it's a choice it's a choice to take a different direction. Mm. And that's the thing where a lot of us really we're creating a lot more dis-ease and upset in our life than we need to. It's like if you're sitting on the couch and you're going, I'm depressed, you can quite easily sit on the couch for the next 10 hours and be depressed. That's a choice that you're making. But if you go, I'm depressed, I'm going to try something different and get down and do 10 push-ups. Even if you only do 3 of them, you have made a choice to change. And in that choice to change, the universe just allows you to start seeing different choices, because every time we make a choice, you've just opened the doors to all these other choices and possibilities that come along with the willingness to make that first one. So and I mean, I did a podcast on this for a couple of years where it was your one choice from change. And that was not meaning that you only have to make one choice, but your one choice to change the direction of anything in your life. But you got to make that first one. And that may be push-ups, it may be just standing up and taking 10 deep breaths, but it's about change. It's about making a different choice. So for people in the world right now, rather than complain and align and agree or resist and react to what's going on, okay, that's what's going on. What would you like to change? What would you like to choose different? And what can you choose different that's unique to you based on your willingness to make a different choice?
Wow. And one of the things about this podcast, I've been having different conversations with people, but it really is for all of us around the globe to acknowledge that, that one choice, to whether it's just to stand up, 10 deep breaths, is contributing to a different planet like that. Can you speak a little about that?
Yeah. Well, the pulling your head out of your ass is what
Yes.
contributes to the planet. Every time you do depression, you are creating the destruction of the planet. And I didn't get this either for 10 years. So this is not about going, well, if you're unhappy, you're destroying the planet. No, if you're unhappy, yeah, you're destroying the planet. You're destroying your life, but it's not right or wrong. It's just a choice that you're making. I did it my whole life. So I really know this one well, but I didn't get that part where I went, I get this influx of energy from the planet now just by having joy in my life, and not just the planet, the universe. Wow. And it's just like the thing with receiving is, as soon as, in order to be unhappy, you've got to put up walls. You've got to put up walls to anything that will impel or radiate joy at you. Wow. Anything that radiates or impels joy at you, you have to put a wall up in order to reject, so that you can maintain your choice to be unhappy. But in doing that, you've just blocked yourself in. You don't only not receive anything that can make you more joyful or happy. You don't receive anything because you don't know how to judge the difference when you're behind those walls of happiness, money, success, awareness of the future, contribution to others. You've just eliminated all of it based on that one choice. I'm unhappy and this is what I'm choosing, so screw everybody.
It's so interesting. I woke up the other day in Mexico City, and outside my window, it was a quiet Sunday morning, and I could see the birds, fluttering from tree branch to tree branch. So when you're talking about receiving, if I was upset or angry or just, complaining, I might not notice that, and it's there.
Yeah, so that's the thing, though. It's like, how many things do we miss, and how much beauty do we miss? How much magic do we miss? How many miracles do we miss? How much receiving do we miss? How much laughter and joy do we miss, based on our choice to build these walls and create these shells around ourselves so that we don't have to receive anything that doesn't allow our primary point of view of ourselves to change.
So where would you invite people to start? Like, if they, whether it's in the last year or, shorter, longer time, how does someone begin to drop those barriers?
Ask for it, and that's another thing that I've learned over just the last few weeks. I've been talking about this for 10 years or so, but never quite got the magic of ask and receive. Because we keep trying to figure out, well, how do, it's fine for you to sit there and talk about that. You've been in Access for 10 years and, you people would look at me as successful and all of this. No, I've been choosing this for 3 weeks. The 10 years prior to that, I was too busy creating an image. Wow. So it's like, and I thought that was valuable for me. But now I realize that has no value in comparison to being. So, but what I started doing was going, you know what, universe, consciousness, I need this to change, and I'll do whatever it takes. I'm yours. I will do whatever it takes for this to change. And then I started well, I want to say teaching myself, but it was more allowing myself to relax, whatever that takes. And what I've noticed that it's so much easier for me now to relax based on the way that I use my body and listen to it. Because it's like you as a being, relaxing when you have a stressed body is really incongruent. They're incongruent with each other. You're both trying to do different things. But also you relaxing your body relaxing when you're stressing as a being is the same thing. You have to work together. You're a being with a body and a body with a being. So you have to be willing to be in communion with each other and go, okay, what would it take and where's the magic here and what can I ask for that I haven't asked for before? And I'm going to say with that too also is you'll know what to choose. I mean, for me, I have 3 horses. I have 2 in Costa Rica, which will soon live at Lugar.
Yes.
And I have a horse here in Texas also. And they're just the most beautiful creatures ever. And 3 years ago, if you would have told me that I could ride any of those 3 horses, I would have thought you're a nut job. But I learned that I had a different capacity with relaxation and receiving when I could learn how to ride horses like that. Because it's the same thing. You have to be willing to be in communion and you have to be willing to listen to energy in order to have that. We all have it as a capacity, but we seldom choose it.
Wow. You said something there with relaxation, and what it brought to my mind was I've gotten massages, right? Where you think, oh, I got to go relax. I'm going to get a massage. And yet
because the person massaging you is an asshole.
Well, that could be possible too. And yet I was thinking of my body and my muscles relaxing, but I'd never had looked at the energy of my being relaxing.
Yeah.
Can you say a little more about that?
Well, yeah, it's like you cannot have relaxation when you have any fixed point of view in place, because the energy that you have to put into that to maintain it as a reality is a constant stress in your world, because any fixed point of view that you cannot change is a lie that you've bought that you need to prove as real and true. And in order to prove a lie, you have to diminish awareness. In order to diminish awareness, you have to put all of your energy into the secret of the truth behind the lie that you're not willing to look at, that keeps you in a constant state of stress. Rather than, interesting point of view, I have this point of view with this interesting point. And when it comes to people, this is really cool tool, and I'm using it dynamically right now, because it's like I still find things where I'm going into other people's worlds, or I'm going out of ease, and I'm just not having that sense of me. Is I've got a friend at the moment who's having a really interesting time with relationship and divorce and blah blah, but it's like I really care about this girl, and what I've been doing is, okay, let me go in there and dig her out and let me find out, like, how do I get her out of there? And I'm stressed the fuck out when I do that. So I've been going, okay, interesting point of view, I have the point of view that she needs help or she needs me. Interesting point of view interesting point of view, I have the point of view that she has the point of view that she needs me. And interesting point of view that I have the point of view that I need her.
Wow.
And it's like, and running that, because it's like, it's all invented bullshit. And this is what we do to diminish ourselves as beings. If you've got it, and with that, see, if you look at it pragmatically, which is what I love about access consciousness and the tools, is if you look at it and you've got somebody you care about swimming in a pool of shit, and you've got this magical life and you're creating happiness and you're creating whatever it is that you desire to create, and you just, you got that sense of you, and you go, okay, in order to get them out of that pile of shit, I need to jump in there with them to pull them out. You've just given up your reality for theirs, which doesn't allow them to actually have any invitation out of that pile of shit. If you were in your universe, mate, you know what? It's way cooler over here, which is what the planet does for us. It's like, hey guys, you know, when you woke up this morning and you weren't happy, did you hear all the birds that I put on the trees outside? You know, did you see the sun beaming in your window and giving you energy the same way that I give to the trees and the grass and the birds and the bees and the flowers? You know, the earth's just constantly going, hey, this is what's possible. This is what's possible for you as a being, and you as a being with a body to have as a living reality. And we go, and we reject it constantly. And it's just, it's insane, but also it's basically been imposed on you as what's real and true, as the reality you need to choose. So a lot of us have just bought into it rather than being questioned.
Yeah, it's that craziness that you think, you buy the point of view that you're carrying means going into their world and being there with them. All of a sudden, do you imagine like the sun going, okay, I'll dim my light for you. You're kind of in a gloomy day, I'll like turn down the vibe.
You feel like shit, so let me feel like shit with you.
Wow, no, thank you. Wow, I had never seen it that way. And yet you're right, the sun comes out. I see the shiny, right now outside my window, I'm in Costa Rica, and that sense of the vibrancy of the colors and the greens. And yeah, it is an invitation for me to go there, or to just perceive that and receive that.
Well,
wow.
the difference with the planet and the universe and the sun and the stars and all of it is it has allowance and we don't. See, because with allowance, which is what interesting point of view is you recognize that we all have choice. If you choose to be unhappy for the rest of your life or even for 10 minutes, it's your choice. But there's such an honoring in that when you start learning about and start choosing allowance and being an interesting point of view, that the care, that's actual caring, because that allows somebody to get to have choice. And where we really dishonor people is where we do caring from this reality, or help from this reality, or sympathy and empathy from this reality, is because you're already looking at other people's choices when you choose that as less than you, less than what you see as right or wrong. The planet doesn't do that. It just goes, oh, you're choosing that? Okay, I'm still here for you. I'm still shining that sun straight on you. I don't care how depressed you get. I'm still going to have those raindrops fall on you like magical little drops from the sky. I'm still going to have those stars in the sky at night shining brightly down upon you. I'm still going to whip that breeze through your hair when you're walking. It's like, it doesn't have a point of view about it. You can be unhappy. You can be happy. You can be whatever. It does not change the way it behaves. If we got that as beings, and if we got that as us, this world would be so different. And what I really like, I wouldn't have been able to have this conversation 4 weeks ago.
Wow.
So that's how quickly you can change if you just give in, and not give in from the place of giving up, but give in from the place of, you know what, my limitations are not valuable enough to me anymore. I'm having a different reality. Universe, consciousness, will you please contribute a miracle? I'll be, do, have, generate, actualize, lose anything it takes to create this as a different reality. That's if you've got that in your world, there's nothing that you cannot change.
What a beautiful invitation, Brendon. Wow. I'm inspired. Like, there's this energy of like, oh yes, this. Wow. Thank you. And thank you, because the gift, like you said, you've been playing, or you've had these tools for 10 years, and you're still allowing yourself to continue to ask new questions, have new awarenesses. And I'm so grateful for that, because that is a space of vulnerability that I know for myself and many other people that have either attended your class or know you are grateful. So thank you for
well, it's like, hey, you get it when you get it. If we've already got 8 billion people basically on this planet right now trying to get it right and trying to do image and trying to not be wrong while trying to be wrong, so that they can be right, so that they have the right image while still thinking they're wrong. It's like, what? You know, if we all just went, you know what, I had a really shitty day today and I feel like a piece of shit, wouldn't that be easier than going, oh, you know, I'm trying to hold it together? No, don't hold it together. Never hold it together. Let it out and go, you know what, fucking my life needs to change. Something's not working here. And be that facilitator for yourself in the way that you would care for others. Have that caring for yourself.
I love that. And, you know, that part you also started with about the body, I've noticed even for myself, it's like, I'm going to take a nap, or like my body in the middle of the day. And I never used to allow myself that, because it was like, no, there's things to do. And yet the gift of, okay, as long as, you know, when I have that space, it's like, okay, it's such a gentle space that I'm so grateful to now have more of that. And what else?
Yep. And when you have that communion with your body, it can change so quickly by request because of your willingness to receive the information that it'll take to create the change. It is fascinating. You know, it's like when people try and train an animal with violence, how quickly do they train it? When they train it with technique and awareness, it's much quicker, much more efficient because they're actually listening to the animal. It's the same way our bodies work. I started with this this personal trainer at the gym near my house like 2 weeks ago because I was like, I'm getting a little chubby. I need to change this shit. You know? I don't want to be chubby. No judgment there, but I don't care about judgment. I'm not being, no, but it wasn't like that. I'm being dramatic. But this guy is like, he's very funny because he's like, as I do, you know, every time I go there, my progression through this is like, and he's just like, how does your body change so quickly? Because I asked it to. He's like, crazy person. But I'm like, you know what? It's we are so different. We seldom and very rarely tap into that as a knowing. We might tap into it as a fantasy or a fairy tale going, oh yeah, I'm different because Access told me I'm different. No, Access acknowledged you for being different. You just haven't chosen it yet. So that's where it's like we're so different with our bodies and with everything that your body doesn't function the way that you think it does. It has so much capacity for miracles that we very rarely acknowledge that if we started that, you the miracles that you can create with it, off the charts.
And you know, you started off with those elements of gratitude, you know, you just spoke about allowance, you know, that space. And I invite people to re-listen from the beginning because there's so much that you shared, this incredible tool of, you know, interesting point of view. I have this point of view. And that invitation with our bodies, with the planet, with everything going on. I know a lot of people have been sharing that there's intensities, physical intensities in their bodies more now than they had ever experienced before.
Yeah.
And, you know, that space of relaxation you talked about is if you could leave people with, I don't know, whether it's an exercise or something during these moments that, you know, people aren't having the ease that, you know, when perhaps our talking is available, like what would you invite them to?
Well, I'll go to the vulnerability place with it now. It's like, see, even with this conversation that we've just had, it's like a lot of people would go to that and go, once again, try and define the happiness or define all of these different things. Hey, there's still, it was like 4 days ago, I said I've been consistently happy, right? But that was I think it was like 4 or 5 days ago. I wanted to tear heads off everybody. I was so cranky, but man, did I enjoy it, you know, and I knew I was cranky. There was an upset that was created in my business and I was pissed off. And I went, you know what? I'm going to be pissed off. And it was enjoyable and it lasted, you know, a couple of hours, whereas usually I would have tried to find out why I was pissed off. I would have tried to find out all of these different things and then justify it, make myself right for being pissed off and then make everyone else wrong for making me pissed off. But I was just with it. And that's what you can create with energy when you don't have judgment. You know, so you're gonna, you as an energetic and as an infinite being, energy is gonna change constantly. and can change constantly, don't try and hold on to it, and just go, okay, what's a different choice that I could make right now with this to change it? And if it's not changing, okay, am I just enjoying this? And if it's really, if you've got something in your life right now that hasn't changed, using the access tools for, if you've got it going on for more than a few weeks, it's not yours. You really got to start asking that question for at least 3 days. 3 days nonstop, with every thought, feeling, and emotion of is, who does this belong to? You know, and start being vigilant with yourself. Because if I said right now, if you could change your life in 3 days, if you could change the direction, and you could change the space, and you could change all of the things in your life right now that aren't working, if you could change all of that in 3 days, how much work would you put into it? You know, and it's like, and if that's somewhere where you're at, because I wouldn't have been at that point 5 years ago, or 2 years ago, or a year ago. I know it. I knew I knew the stuff I know right now 12 months ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, but I wasn't willing to receive it. I wasn't willing to ask for it. And I definitely was not willing to choose it yet. So be kind to yourself, be patient, because in order to relax, you have to have that patience also. You've got to allow the universe, once you make that ask, and once you make that request, and once you're willing to make a different choice, you've got to allow the universe to rearrange itself, which is where a lot of us just go, well, I asked for it yesterday and it didn't get here today, so I'm still a piece of shit and the universe sucks and I hate everything. You've just destroyed it. You've got to be willing to learn patience. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that I'm not patient. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that I don't have the magic to just ask and receive. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that I'm fucking fucked up. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that people don't like me. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that I don't like me. And the other thing is, with everything that's like in your life right now, it's like, look at everything you're going to the wrongness about you is what's right about me and what's right about this I'm not getting. Not what's wrong with me. You know, if you use those two tools alone, that, and every time your mind goes crazy, you go, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. You are going to change your life just with that.
Truly, some incredible, incredible tools. Thank you, Brendon. Because for those of you, I do recommend, this one is a definite replay. Take out your notepad, take out your pen, and take some notes. Some incredible tools, and
Cool.
you know, maybe this whole different way of looking at life, and you know, that communion with the planet, with your body, and knowing that you truly do have choice, even if it just means to stand up and take a couple deep breaths and breathe. Yes. Oh, wow, Brendon, thank you so much. And we will also put links for people to find you. I know that you're facilitating online around the world. And, you know, you do telecalls, private sessions. There's so many ways for people to engage with you. So we will let people know where to find you. So thank you for being on the planet. Thank you for sharing all that you do.
Thank you, honey. You're just wonderful. I'm very grateful. And thank you for creating this and for everything that you contribute to the world also, and Lugar.
Yes.
You know, like,
place.
what a magical, magical place. And I was actually thinking about my my houses there just like an hour or so before we did this, and I was just like, and I just got the energy of it there, and I was just like, how did I get so lucky to be involved in something like this? And just the gratitude for everyone that's contributing to it, and also the acknowledgement of the magic that's going to create in so many people's lives for not only the next 100 years, but for thousands and thousands of years into the future, of people going to that property and just changing.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know much about Lugar, visit the website. It's el-lugar, Lugar, and that stands for the place. You can go to that website, and check out more information about it. And truly, Brendon, thank you. Yes. What else can we be and choose on this planet? And actually actualize that fun space of gifting, receiving, and everything else you spoke about.
And just one more thing, it's way, way, way easier than you think. Just going to put that one in there. It is way easier than you think.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. And if you loved this show and, listen to some of the others, and please share it around the world. I would love for everyone on the planet to know that we do have choice possibilities and that this is our earth and we do get to create it and be with it in such a different way, even in moments like we're living now. So thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this show. My target is to inspire new actions and conversations that empower us all to know that we are the ones creating the future. If you'd like a way to contribute to our podcast, please leave a review wherever you listen. And for information about Lugar, visit l-lugar.com. Thank you.